Fundamentals one. Really kind of, I don't want to really say simplification, but kind of condensing a little bit of what we're doing, which I think that's good for our personnel. I love this group, so they're, it's just get better at football. And I throw situational football in there too. That's a big thing, but we'll get to that as the spring goes on.
Curious, when you go into this, you kind of tailor your defense to your personnel. Have you thought about, is it going to be more linebacker centric, going to be more D-line centric, safety? Have you thought about how that's going to go this spring?
I think it'll be a lot of the same base structure of what we've had. Again, I love the pieces there to there. I think we're faster than we have been since I've been here. I think we're more athletic than we have been since we've been here. Probably particularly secondary wise, and I think we're experienced and old where we need to be. So I don't think we really have to go in and structurally change a whole lot. I think we have the ability versus some things to be bigger, which is good. How that's just package wise how you build it, but the concepts and the terms are really kind of redundant throughout the whole defense. So it's not a whole lot of changes.
Does faster and athletic mean more aggressive? Because you're pretty aggressive now the way it is.
Yeah, and I think that's not necessarily the skill set. I think it's more the mentality. Like I love this group's mentality, which is something that we've been aggressive about what we're doing, but just each individual that's out there, we can be more aggressive, and I think this group has that mindset.
The last thing about speed is, I guess, you can recover quicker. That is obviously a big.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like I make it a point always, especially this time of year, that this game's not designed to be perfect. It's just not. You're going to make mistakes, and nobody out there is going to make more than me. But mistakes are going to happen, and so what you need is always guys that, number one, play the right way, and two, that can have the athletic ability to erase a mistake. In which, and as a whole group in really the last 2 years, I don't know as a whole that we've had that. We've had some pieces, but I think this group as a whole can be able to do that.
Jordan, it's a new offense that you'll be lining up against in the spring. As a coach and a competitor, is that something you kind of look forward to a little bit? New challenge there? Or do you think it's advantageous for your guys?
I think it's fundamentals. Whether to me, like everybody does a version. It's like defense. Everybody likes to say, "Hey, I'm this and that," but I think everybody does a version of the same concepts. Again, most of the time, offensively, they tailor it to their personnel. So you may see more of the same concepts with more speed versus more bigger sets, tight ends, whatever it is. Again, it's the same to me, quite honestly, how I approach it in the spring, with just trying to get better at simple things.
So inexperienced, or at least so many new faces at the three safety spots. Your thoughts of how you build that?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
So many new faces at the three safety spots. Your thoughts as you try to build that group.
Well, I think the number one thing that we have the ability to do that I don't think that we've had it up front, and you guys have heard me talk about versatility and how important that is, and so that you don't get yourself, whether it's injuries, whether it's facing different offenses up front, that you don't get yourself in a pigeonholed into a certain thing. And I think that at not necessarily just the free safety position, but at other positions, I think we've kind of been that, and I don't think we have to do that with this group. So we're inexperienced. I understand that, but you also have a lot more versatility, a lot more options based on athletic ability to have guys dual train guys, move guys around, and so which is something I'm excited about.
Neil sounded really excited about Lee Cola. Yeah, what have you seen out of him, and what kind of upside does he have?
The kid's he's just one of those guys. I mean, he's ultra competitive. I think I saw him talking trash to a tire the other day as he was flipping it, and so didn't have to have a competition from a human. He had, so he's got that type of mentality that you want at that position. He just kind of has those natural leadership abilities. He's not afraid to even though he's new to the roster, he's not afraid to show that. And Lee, not big mistakes. He makes mistakes, whether it's didn't touch the right cone or whatever, and he always owns it. And that's the one thing about it. He owns everything that he does wrong. He fixes it, moves on to the next rep, which again is something that I think overall we've got to do a better job of, is playing, worried about focusing on what's next. And so he just has that mentality. And so far, does that translate to the games? I mean, we'll see. But I know that just how he approaches his training, his off season, just the game is something that we've needed.
Is he a pure Mike? I mean, because he's not the biggest guy, at least on his numbers, weight-wise. So, but is he a Mike? Is he a Will? How do you work that?
I think you need to stand next to him. Bigger stature-wise than you think. That's his primary position is Mike Backer. But we, again, skill set wise, you try to recruit and develop guys that can do some different things. But primarily, yes, he's a Mike.
How important is the spring for Sean Martin?
It's extremely important for him. It's always, it's his second spring, which is usually when you see a developmental guy, which Sean was, and a lot of guys are, really start to make strides at their position, and whether you're asking them to do some different things, you start to see big strides in their strength, their functional strength. So it's huge for him, but he's done really well up to this point.
With all the injuries and personnel availability problems you had last year, did that benefit you in any way in learning, hey, this guy functioned well in this different spot where we had to plug him in? Did it help give you some ideas in the way the defense might evolve?
We actually went into last season trying to evolve some different things and some different packages, and those issues you're talking about didn't allow us to do that. But it also allowed us to we won 2 games with a safety at will linebacker. That's not always easy to do, but it kind of showed you the flexibility that we have defensively sometimes to get some guys in position. So, hopefully, again, we're going into this approaching it. We have more availability of personnel at different positions, so able to hopefully develop some different packages, a little bit more versatile, based on the situations that we weren't able to do last year.
Is that more linebackers, safeties, more from second and
Yeah. And you can throw corners in there. You can use we use corners at a lot of places and all over the field in different scenarios. So second, third level guys.
What's it like for a coach to learn so surprisingly that his experienced leading tackler is coming back, and you start making plans with him in the middle linebacker spot, and then 5 weeks later, all of a sudden he's gone. What's that like? What does that do for your planning and preparation on this?
It doesn't change really anything. I approached 2022 just like I did at the end of 2021. When it wasn't, then it was, and so at the end of the day, the portal's part of life now. So we can all sit around and complain about it, or just deal with it as it goes. Again, I go back to the first question I got. I love this team. I love this group. They're doing a great job. We go in that indoor 2 mornings a week, and there's things we have that are non-negotiable. There's things we have that we expect, and there's foundations of this program that we run it by. And this group, top to bottom, is the first one we didn't feel like they were fighting us on some of those things the first time. So, I can't spend not 1 second focused on somebody that's not here, and that's okay. Like I said, that's a part of life. I focus on the guys that are here, and that's the only way we're going to get better. And so I don't approach it any different than I normally would.
Those workouts, just for me looking at it, like pulling a tire doesn't seem like that's going to help you a whole lot in the spring, right? But like I imagine there's a whole lot of things that you look at from the competition and just the back and forth that you can actually take out on the field and apply like what you learned in those winter workouts. How does that work? Like what do you observe that you make a note in your head about a guy or a position, a strength or a weakness?
I think the number one thing is competitive character. You do those drills to see. It's easy to know how a guy will react when he loses. Or how he reacts when he wins. That's easy. How does he react when he loses? And that's okay. It's okay to lose. Regroup, figure out what you did wrong, figure out how to win. So that's the biggest thing in all of those drills. Details. If I go back to last year after watching every bit of the film from last year, and I can think of, right off the top of my head, I can think of 3 losses. They were probably 3 to 4 plays. They were the difference. Well, you look at that, and we're sitting here 9-4. That's a totally different viewpoint at the end. All right. So if you don't focus on those details and make those details important, then they're going to show up eventually. And maybe some people in college football don't have to worry about it. Well, we do. So, those are the things that in those drills at that time of year, what you're trying to get out of it, that's what you're focused on. Because they're always going to show up, period.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.